Hello and welcome to Dragon Boat Dynasty, a podcast where I share my experiences in building, coaching, and scaling a Dragon Boat team. My name is Sean, and I'm the head coach of Argonaga Dragon Boat team with over 100 active members based in Malaysia. Today I want to talk about attitude determines altitude. It's where I learned a member's attitude is infinitely more important than their skills. In the early days of Argonaga, this is like really early days, maybe like back into the first season or so, the captain and founder of the team was very focused on introducing the sport to people who have never heard of the sport before or who have never participated in the sport before. So the Dragon Boat scene back then was actually very small. There was only one active team in Klang Valley. And at this point of time in 2023, I think I can safely count maybe more than 10 active teams in Klang Valley. So it has grown quite a bit. And it was also a part of his goal to grow the sport and to introduce it, of course, to introduce it to more people. You grow the sport, you get them interested in it, and you know what better way than to reach this very group, the people who have never participated, who have never tried the sport before. And a lot of people don't even know this sport exists in this part of the world. So he devised an 8-week program where we have an open day where it's kind of like an introductory day, and then if they're interested, they can sign up for an 8-week program. And we would spend this 8 weeks introducing the sport to a new batch of members. And after the 8 weeks, of course, after the 7th week, the 8th week will be a graduation day. Initially, it was actually a day where we just kind of celebrate the whole thing. We filled it with a lot of challenges, and members will come together, and then they will go through the challenges. It's fun. It was fun, at least, yeah. And it was also a good place for the captain at that time to identify potential leaders who can help him run the team, because at that time the team was very small and he needed all the helpers that he could get in all kinds of areas, handling finances, operations, helping with technical stuff, coaching. So the entire basic program was designed to also spot for people who has the potential to help him out in many areas as well. It was an evolving program. Every season we'd make a lot of improvements to it, and depending on how it grows, depending on what is needed, depending on what we learn, we make changes to the 8-week program, and then it kind of evolved to where it is now. After a while, we realized that these challenges could not only help us identify potential leaders, but could also effectively show us their true colors and how they were able to handle internal and external pressures. We have a name for it. We call it the Hell Day. From it becoming a very fun thing, it became a very challenging day. It kind of allowed us to see people with two different mindsets. So there is one type who will ask the question, what value can the team give me? And another kind of people who will ask the question, what value can I bring to the team? Usually, most people fall in either one or the other. One is like they go in there with their hands folded and they think, I will try it out and see, or I will just stand on the side to see how things go. And if the team gives value to me, and I will probably commit a little bit more. There are also another kind of people who are the type who just they come in and they want to participate, right? And they see what needs to be done and they go and they help out. So we coined the terms focus in and focus out. Focus in means you only focus internally on yourself. The benefit is always self, me. And focus out means I'm focusing my energy outwards towards the team. How can I benefit the team? What can I do to give benefit to the team? From there, we moved the entire basic program to include elements that try to test the mental fortitude of these members, these basic members. We have been called abusive and crazy, and our program was also said to be wasting their time. But from where we stand, we find that these approaches actually helped us weed out people with inflated egos. And it also identified those who were not suited for a team sport like Dragon Boat. And after a while, eventually they would just drop out without us needing to do much. So the program kind of plays itself out. And we also found out that when pushed to the limits, we would shed our corporate facade and reveal who we truly are underneath. And these usually comes in the form of temper, frustrations, either with ourselves or others, and insecurities. So the trend is like this. In the very beginning, everybody's all very nice. Like, hi, how are you doing? Good morning. Oh, it's a beautiful day. And when they paddle and they accidentally splash water into someone's face, oh, I'm so sorry for this. And they they find that the person in front is not hinging forward as much as they like, so they would not even dare to push forward. And it's all, everybody's very nice, everybody's very polite, very nice to each other, right? After going through a bunch of like struggles and challenges, they kind of tend to be less nice to each other, and this raw honesty would start to surface. And these are the parts that, whether you believe it or not, these are the parts that start to build friendship, because you start to see who the real person is, who's the real person that is paddling beside you, behind you, in front of you, who they really are, what really pushes them to the limits, and what is their limit. And when they show their insecurities and vulnerabilities, and when they're pushed to the point, you kind of value or appreciate the honesty that comes from them, the vulnerability that comes from them, and from there, real friendship is built. From there, real trust with each other is built as well. It's also a good time to see who the true leaders are, because these are the times when the qualities will emerge. Of course, there are also those who are faking it. They always fake it for us to see they really know how to play these cards right? Especially these people who have been working in the corporate line for a long time. I mean, I'm not dissing people in the corporate line, but there is a kind of game that people in these lines of work do, and they're very good at it. Fortunately, we know how to we know how to spot it. Especially the captain at the time, he kind of taught me how all these signs of on whether these people are truly leaders or they are not, or things like that, things that they do. True leaders start by actually being good followers and supporters of other leaders. So they don't actually step out and say, hey, listen to me, I'm right, I know what I'm doing, I know all the right things, I know all the answers. But instead, they support other leaders and their ideas, and they rally other people together to actually act on these commands or these ideas or these actions. We also realize that true leaders actually lead from the back, which means that, let's say, for example, if there's a drill where they're required to do something, so the leaders would actually make sure the final pack is safe and sound across from point A to point B, making sure everybody's okay. So these are some of the I guess, signs of people who has leadership qualities. So fast track a little bit on attitudes of people. There were a lot of times when some of our paddlers, they break down into tears, and because they were put in very intense situations, intense pressure. This happens usually to steerers and to pacers, especially in big international races, or especially when the water condition is very fluid and not very static. So in these situations, especially the steerers, they are under a lot of pressure, and the pacers are under a lot of pressure as well, because if they screw it up, then the entire boat gets it wrong, and the entire set is wrong. So instead of letting them step away from it, we encourage them to keep pushing forward, supporting them from behind, and and ensuring them that if they ever make a mistake, we know that it was for the best intentions, and we are all human after all, and mistakes happen, and it's okay. Nobody's going to nail anybody on the wall, or anything like that. This is how we grow, right? So as a result, these are some of the strongest paddlers we have today, and they have grown a lot mentally, emotionally, and physically. So from here, our team culture is born. We are focused out. We always put ourselves wherever the team needs us. The team always comes first, and we always understand when a decision is made, it's made for the team. Argonaga being the first team that they join as a dragon boater, so most of the time it's also their last team. So which means that we do have very, very few paddlers who end up moving on to other teams, and even if they do, most of the time it's because they migrate elsewhere or they relocate elsewhere, and with our consent and our blessing, they join a different team, and sometimes a competitor. But they have the decency to honor trade secrets that we have. They don't tell the new team about how we do things and why we do things the way we do it. And they don't tell us, having been there, they don't tell us how the other team does certain things or what their trade secrets. So they draw the line very well with these things, and I really appreciate these kinds of good ethics. And the team also adopts first principle problem solving approaches where we always ask what is the best way to solve a problem, what is the best decision making process that helps the team the most, rather than if there is a system or there is no system. If there's no system, then nobody gets anything done. The team is also very supportive of everyone because most likely they are doing something for the first time, and we remember the time when we were doing it for the first time, how scary it was. And instead of not allowing them to make mistakes or judging them or be very quick to point out stuff, we are very supportive and we kind of guide them along the way. We also learned that experienced and skilled dragon boaters often come with a lot of arrogance. We don't really like recruiting them into our team unless it's for a special case. I think in our entire 7-year history, we've maybe accepted less than 5 experienced paddlers from other teams. And if we do, we are sure to explain to them what is our culture like, and they will be required to fit into the culture that is our team. When a batch of people start paddling together or start this sport together as their first ever sport, right? They endure the challenges together, they win themselves together, they will eventually form a true bond that transcends the team. Transcends the team in this case means that even after years of leaving the team to do something else, they still remain very close friends. They hang out all the time. It's kind of like they built a family in here. And, I guess Dragon Boat is a kind of sport where it works for some, it doesn't work for some, right? So if you don't find that it's your thing, it doesn't mean that you can't be friends with the people there. In fact, they are still very close with the group of people who are still paddling in the team. Sometimes they would just, catch up, talk about stuff, and, reminisce the old days. We realized that in order to build a single batch of paddlers, like one batch of basic, as a band of brothers and sisters, we first need to dismantle the individual personas, their individual egos, and rebuild teams' persona and teams' pride. This is where they will eventually go on from basic to fight battle after battle together until their very first season finale race. And I always tell them that their first season finale race is kind of like their honeymoon race. It's the best one, it's the most amazing, the most emotional one. And I guess 90% of the time is true. And this is also where they will outperform their expectations and they experience the best thing about this sport, which is winning. Not winning competitors, but winning themselves, winning their expectations and winning their self-doubts. The entire basic program and its subsequent season was engineered for this sole purpose, for the experience to build the culture and to build a group of Argonauts who will eventually move on to be full-fledged members, take up leadership roles, and pass on this great experience to a new batch of paddlers. And for that, I thank you, Argonauts, for this valuable lesson. I would have never learned this without being in the team. And that's all for this episode of Dragon Boat Dynasty. You can catch all the episodes of this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and soon even more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.